welcome everybody to another episode of Jabroni Drive. On this week's episode, Backlash, the Bloodline, King of the Ring, Triple Threat Intercontinental Championship, Liv Morgan with Dominic Mysterio and so much more. Will this be the greatest episode of Jabroni Drive yet? I think so. Timmy, what do you got to say to all the Schmidt-Lavelle-ites out there?
Tom, I'm not sure that anyone even heard your introduction, but I do know that when they listen to Jabroni Drive, that it is just too woo. And when you listen to Jabroni Drive, you know that you are jabronis or
live. I love it.
Love it.
Here we are, another episode.
You didn't think I was getting
Jabroni
there.
Drive.
You didn't think I was getting there. You thought I was dragging a little bit.
I wasn't sure if you remembered the "You're a Jabroni for life." I was like, is he gonna hit that one? And then I saw it click in your brain. Oh, and when you listen to Jabroni Drive, you're a jabroni for life. And that's right.
Tom,
yes.
we are back.
We are back after a great weekend for WWE. I mean, incredible. We're going to get into all of that. The PLE from France, Backlash, the whole deal, and so much more. But before we do that, we want to thank you, the listener. If you're not already doing that, give us that follow. If you'd like to be a part of the show, give us a call. Give us a comment. You can call us on our hotline. That's 215-948-6546. We'd love to get a wrestling question from you. Send it in. Leave us a voicemail. We will play it on the show. If you want to be on Jabroni Drive and be a real jabroni, give us that call. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Give us a question or maybe something you noticed, and we will bring it up on the show. That's 215-948-6546. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the likes. We love you. Jabroni Drive, the hottest growing show in all of professional wrestling. Now, Timmy, speaking of hot shows, speaking of hot crowds, we had what was an epic, amazing, all-time crowd for any event the WWE has ever thrown. Some may say this is the greatest crowd of all time. We're from Lyon, France, and from SmackDown through the Backlash PLE, this crowd was on absolute fire.
Tom, and this is the first, look, it's been a year, right, that I'm invested. A little more, but I saw Bad Bunny, Damian Priest in Puerto Rico, and it was insane. And I was like, dude, this whole thing, this whole vibe is outrageous. And what happened in Lyon, whatever you want to call it, France, was bananas, dude. It was insane.
Yeah.
And it was seriously one of the greatest spectacles I've ever seen, because like, dude, like, look, here it is, right? Like, you've been to sporting events in your life, right? You've seen the Eagles play. Like, we're both Philadelphia sports fans. We've seen the Eagles play, the Sixers play, the Phillies play, World Series. Dude, this was beyond that. This is not even a core four sport. This is just again, a sport that people don't really believe that is a real sport. It's just fake and all the shit. You can even go down that line. But like, it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen with this crowd that supported whatever they did. It didn't matter. From wrestler 1 to wrestler 30 on the roster, it didn't matter. They gave them support, which was awesome. And the wrestlers delivered.
Yep.
And that's what I saw, like, the entire weekend, was that when you hear a crowd like that and you have the talent that you have on your roster, these people want to go out and deliver. And that's what they did. There wasn't a single match that I said, man, they didn't really like deliver on that match. Like they sucked or they were bad or they missed on this spot or they missed on that spot. It was just really insane the way that they really carried that match
Yeah.
from
And the crowd ended up being the show. It was an unbelievable, it was a sight to see the energy. And we do talk about, the, I guess, rival company in AEW. I mean, the victory laps, it's almost getting old now, but you can't see that crowd and that atmosphere and think there's any organization in the world that is on the same level. They're so far ahead, it's insane. But that crowd and that atmosphere, it was fun to watch. We were talking about, man, I would love to be in that crowd, just like living in that frenzy of entertainment and the chants and the singing and the lights and the vibing and everything. And just the show that they put on, kudos to them. And it's just kind of funny how the last two backlashes, like, out of nowhere, you don't look at the card and think, okay, this is an amazing card, but the shows themselves were epic. I mean, you talked about Bad Bunny and his that whole show in Puerto Rico last year. The crowd was on fire, very much similar to this. This was next level, but they were right there. I mean, they were right there in Puerto Rico, like this one. They didn't have the chance, I would say, as much, but man, their energy was contagious last year, and how fun it has to be for the wrestlers. Yeah. And I loved it. I loved Friday and the energy that they brought for that. I thought some people showed out there. Montez Ford, I thought, showed out. I thought the pop for LA Knight was huge and big for him. We talked about him kind of elevating in these next couple months with all the injuries going on, and we'll see where that goes. Let's get to the matches. For me, the match of the night, I loved the first match. The crowd was so hot when it started. They came out, Kevin Owens. They were going nuts for him. They sing Randy Orton's song for him. Then you have Solo come out with Tama Tonga. And I want to say I'm really liking these characters of Tama Tonga and Solo right now. And particularly Tama Tonga's style of wrestling. A very much, we've talked about it, like it's quick paced, like his attacks and his punches and his kicks and everything like that are very fast and very like how's the word, like they're targeted, and they seem to hit, and I like the style of it. It's intense, and I like that intensity that he brings. He does a great job in that character. And so for this being his first real match, I thought he showed out. The spot with him and KO through the chairs was insane. Like, insane. You could kill someone in that spot, and the risk that is right there. And KO, obviously, we give him a ton of credit, but I hope the wrestling world watches that and just sees what an amazing professional wrestler Kevin Owens is. He has to protect Tama Tonga in that spot, and they did it perfectly, and it was incredible. That led to the debut of Tanga Loa, Tama Tonga's brother, son of Haku, coming out, helping the Bloodline, Solo and Tama, win the match. Now, there is some video online that he missed by a split second the spot where he's supposed to pull out the referee. And I think you brought it up, Tim. It doesn't matter. The TV, the camera audience didn't see that way. And good job by the referee, but it's not like they're trying to like kind of play it off like he's some like botch machine that, oh, you're getting this bum that can't even do the right spot, you know? Obviously it wasn't perfect, but as far as the viewing audience goes, it didn't affect the outcome.
Very frustrating for like a guy that's going to make his debut in the WWE, right? Like this is like such a big spot for him, right? And look, these things have such timing, Tom, and you know this, right? Like you know this, like from dude. I mean, we were at WrestleMania 40 when The Undertaker comes out, right? Like the timing on that has to be perfect, right? It if it doesn't meet perfection, it doesn't work well. And what happens with these guys, right? Like he comes out, he maybe is a half a second late, but there's somebody's filming like ringside and watching, not even watching. I mean, I guess they're just like recording just to see if they can catch something, right? And they catch something, which is something of significance, and he's a little bit late, which is fine. But on the broadcast, you don't see that, so no one sees that except for the dude that's like on the sidelines, right? Like just watching that and going, all right, well, this guy sucks because he was a half a second late. I see that. And he posts it online, and then all of a sudden it turns into like, oh my God, like look how bad this wrestler is. He's terrible at taking whatever. But like it's annoying. It's really annoying the way it goes. It takes away from what that moment was for that dude because he finally
Right.
gets back to the WWE after almost a decade and a half, right? Like of really just putting work, and it's just whatever. I mean, it happened,
It happened. I
whatever.
think it's something to note if we start to see a trend of things like this, but I don't like the internet trolls going out there and trying to make it like they signed this bust because of a half second thing that really didn't matter for the televised product. So I didn't put much weight to it. When I saw it, I was like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, come on. It's not like it was something that was so egregious and so, you
No
know,
one noticed it. No one
yeah,
noticed it at all. Not
right.
not a single person. Like it went over well.
Yeah. And kudos to that ref too, you know. And if you see the side, the ring apron was pulled down. So something happened during the match where that ring apron, which is supposed to be taut, and so he could come out underneath, was now pulled down. So I think it slowed him down a little bit, like getting out, and maybe he was just a little bit late in that extra half second of that slowing down as well. Might have caught him up a little bit, but you couldn't tell. So let's talk about Tanga Loa, his look, Timmy. Bigger guy, you know, and they're all big guys, but he's a little bit taller. He's significantly taller than a Solo or Tama Tonga, probably about 4 inches, I would say, a little bit taller. He gives a little bit more size to that bloodline, which I think is something they needed.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think size is what they need. I really don't. I really don't. Like they never needed size. Like they got along without any of that. I just really feel like they need something that's like almost like a reinforcement type of situation here. Um and I think that's what they get with Tamalonga uh and what's his name?
Tonga Loa, Tonga Loa,
And
Tama Tonga, and Tonga
Tamatanga and
Loa.
Tamaloga. Loa,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's going to be tough for us to do over.
Jesus
You
Christ.
might hear us a couple times. I guess what I'm saying is Solo. I feel like he'd be a little bit more believable as an enforcer if he was a little bit taller. You know what I mean? Like if that was Braun Strowman size, I'd be like, holy shit, this guy is legit. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy gives them that that uh that look a
Like
little
a
bit more
physical
than what
edge.
they
Almost
had.
like a physical edge, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't I don't know if I see that. Like I just look, when I see the bloodline, I see the bloodline as a whole, right? Like these guys are just a dominant force, a dominant faction that has been there for years. And I think that like that's what they're going to consistently put out there moving forward. And like adding these guys I think is going to be something that you can't really control, right? Like there's something that's really speaking to me about like these guys. Like, all right, well, like you're gonna keep on adding this guy and this guy and this guy, but like where is it going? Where is it gonna lead? Is it gonna lead to, is it gonna be Solo's squad, or is it gonna go back to Roman Reigns, or like where it just feels like there's a lot of stuff that's like up in the air here with
Right.
like this whole process.
And
So we'll
that's why
see.
I want to talk about right now Paul Heyman's part right now and the masterclass he's putting on, as he always does. I mean, this guy is, Hall of Famer, been doing it for decades. The nuance of his character right now and his scared look. He doesn't know what to do. The mentioning of I haven't talked to Roman since WrestleMania. The interaction in the back with Jey Uso after the match, where he gives him this look of almost like a help me, like this is not good. I'm scared. All with his look, without saying a word, he looks at him and it's like, this is not good. I need help. We're all in trouble. These guys are out of control. And he's been portraying that perfectly. What I would love to see is, and this is really setting up for Roman to come back as a face, um, is for them Solo to take over. I'm loving his new character as the leader of this. I think he's been great. And I think them beating down Roman at some point is going to be an epic moment. And if they do it the way they've been doing it, like they did the KO prior to this match with the blood and this and that, man, that could be some powerful, powerful scenes right there. Because
But
Roman, a guy that was the champ for so long, almost untouchable, now being taken out would be wow.
I just don't understand like the whole Roman thing, right? Like, so why the separate? Like, tell me why. Why does that make sense? Like, why are there separate? Why is it just like, it's Roman versus Solo now all of a sudden?
It's not yet. I'm saying like when he comes, like Solo right now has got a reign of terror started, in my opinion, and Roman has always had this thing, but it wasn't like it's not like this. Paul was never like this is out of control, giving that kind of vibe of this is these guys are out of control and who knows what they're gonna do. Roman was just the guy in charge, and yeah, did he do whatever it took to win? Was it underhand? Like, did he cheat? Yes, but it wasn't anything vicious like what's been happening the last couple weeks. So I could see it being like him's coming back and saying like this is wrong what you've been doing. This isn't the way we do it. And then Solo saying, "Well, I'm in charge now. I don't give a shit what you think." And that leads to them butting heads. Who's the tribal chief? Because seems like Solo has asserted himself as the new leader of the bloodline. Kind of similar to like and like obviously not the same thing, but when Shawn Michaels left and Triple H became the leader of DX, when he came back, they butted heads because it was like, I'm the leader now. You're done. You're out. And so, you know, a similarity, not like totally similar, but I could see it going that way. I'm not saying it will, but I would love for it to go that way. And then you can pull Jimmy and Jay back in. They've already kicked out Jimmy. So or if Roman didn't give that order, why did you do? I didn't tell you to kick out Jimmy. Like I'm the tribal chief. You don't do that unless I tell you to do that. Blah blah blah. More of a riff. So I would love a scene where they beat down Roman, and then you're gonna really have the crowd cheering for Roman. I don't know. It would be crazy.
Interesting.
But
I
what
just
do you like the way Paul's obviously, I mean, how
No,
can you
no, I
not?
love how he look. Paul is always great. You just
Right.
never know which way he's going to go. Like I love his facial expressions, and I love how he handles himself. Um, I just like right now with like Solo, I'm just trying to figure out what he actually is.
Right.
What is he actually with Solo? Is he actually is this
What is Paul with Solo?
no, what are they together? Like are they
I don't think they're anything. I
right?
think he's there because he doesn't know what to do, and he's almost like a prisoner now with Solo, the
Right.
way
So
I see it.
what is this guy about? So what is he about? I think that's where we're at right
Yeah. Yeah. And the more that it'll unfold more, um, it's looking to me like he wants to be the leader. And is Rock involved in any of this? Is Rock calling in, we're bringing this guy, we're bringing that guy. He's gonna come back eventually. So maybe the final boss is somewhat involved in all of this. So let's get back to Backlash. We talked about the crowd. We talked about that first match. Um, another great moment was Jay Uso and his entrance and coming out. And I thought that match with Damian was good. Uh Damian, a lot of interference, and Damian's playing this like I don't want anyone's help, but he gets it and wins, and then on Raw apologizes for the way he acted afterwards. Cody and we're gonna get back to all of this, Tim, to break it down, but I kind of want to bring up a point here. Cody comes out, he faces AJ Styles again. The crowd incredible. We can't talk about the crowd enough. I thought they had a great match. I thought it was very well done. When we talk about Styles and what he can do in the ring, he's still one of the top professional wrestlers in the world. They put on a great match, a lot of great spots, Cody cutters off the top, things like that were very cool in this match. I really liked it. False finishes. The triple threat with the women's for the championship. My point is now, when we're talking about all these matches, we predicted all the outcomes. We had Bailey continue to hold on to the title because we said, well, she just got it. Damian Priest, so he just cashed in. They're not going to take it off him right away. Cody Rhodes, this is his first. They're not going to take it off of him. We predicted Solo would come out with the win because they're trying to push this group. Monday night, Ilya Dragunov has a match on King of the Ring. We predict that he's going to win. He just came up, yada, yada, yada. Right now, the WWE seems very predictable because they're building. Um, Timmy, I guess I want kind of your thoughts on that because I think as the wrestling fan, we've come to the realization, hey, not every week, not every PLE is going to be WrestleMania. We just got off this high, the build for a year to that, and you've got to accept some of the build so that when the payoff comes, it's that much better. So as a wrestling fan, I'm just wanted to put it out there, accept
now.
the
No,
build, right?
you are spot on, right? Like we we think, right? So like look, this has been for months where we like when is Gunther gonna lose? And like
Right.
we like that's what the build was for us as fans is like we're sitting there and we're like waiting and waiting and waiting for this guy to just drop the belt, drop the belt, drop the belt, drop the belt. But like, dude, it is incredible when you look back at it, right? And you see that Gunther held it for as long as he did. And he was the face, right, of what that title was. And now you're looking for someone to kind of fulfill that title role, right? Like what is that going to be? Who is that going to be that's going to carry that title? And
And not just his title, Tim. The undisputed with Cody. I know Cody's carrying it, but I think what you're saying too, right, is the relevance those titles had. It takes time. You can't
yeah,
just have
yeah,
it because you
it's
didn't hold it for 600 days like
it's
Gunther or
a
a
it's a
thousand.
build. It's
Right.
a build more than it is anything else. It's like, all right, so who are we gonna strap and who's gonna be the guy, right? And it's weird because right now, like we see Gunther, right? And he was on Raw and he wrestled Sheamus. And you're sitting there and you're like, you look at you look at Gunther and you're like, oh my God, this guy's such a stud. Like this guy is the man, right? Like he's not gonna lose this match. But at the same time, you're like, wow, like who else are you gonna put into that light? Who are you gonna push into that King of the Ring like type status, right? Like, look, he comes back, Sheamus comes back, he's out of shape a little bit, but like he has fanfare with him. Like you could probably get away with pushing him over, right? You could probably make him the King of the Ring, but at the same time, who's your guy? Who's your cash cow? Like it's weird. Like if you look at it from the perspective of like a businessman, right?
Right.
Versus
And
versus what
the
you're seeing
fan.
as a fan,
Right.
and it's totally different. Like you can go, oh, dude, I would love to see like, it'd be such a great story when Sheamus comes back and he's out of shape and he wins the King of the Ring. But at the same time, Gunther,
Right. And Triple H has done a great job of balancing that business because he understands that with the story comes the business. And what
does
we've
that
been
make sense?
asking for,
Does that
you
make sense what
totally.
I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Like
I hear what you're saying because you like it's almost like your kid. You can't give him cake for breakfast all the time. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
you gotta have your and then you're gonna get the cake. You're gonna get it eventually. But right now we're eat your chicken. You know what I mean? But like you understand what they have to give the build of you can't just get happy ending after happy ending after happy end. You've got to have some trials and tribulation and some time to develop these stories so that when you do finally get the payoff, oh, it was worth it. Nothing that's worth anything comes easy. And so as a promoter, I think Triple H has done a great job of balancing the business aspect and the story aspect and kind of knowing what's best for the WWE universe. And we've talked a lot about the King of the Ring. Particularly, we wanted there to be a reward. It seems fitting that the King of the Ring should have a reward. The winner should get a title shot or some sort of a
a
reward besides
prize.
just being the King of the Ring. And I want to kind of advocate for the King of the Ring tournament itself. I really enjoyed the King of the Ring matches and Queen of the Ring matches on Monday. One of the Queen of the Ring matches. I really enjoyed those matches. I thought the Ricochet Ilya Dragunov match was incredible. The Sheamus Gunther match was incredible. We're going to break that down a little bit more later. Zoe Stark, I thought looked really good in her matches. We're big fans of her. But in the time where they're trying to build up the Undisputed Championship, the Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental title. The longest reigning champion right now is the United States champion. And as they're trying to build those titles up and let those stories develop, you have a guy that we've said is championship material, and I think WWE knows his championship material, Gunther. In the meantime, I think you're just going to give him the King of the Ring title. He won the King of the Ring. And I feel like Triple H, a known historian of the business, is trying to bring the prestige back to the King of the Ring. Back in the day, when we were younger, when someone won the King of the Ring, it actually meant something. They didn't really necessarily get a title shot because of it, but it was the beginning of their push. Most famously, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Obviously Triple H won it. Brock Lesnar won it. Bret Hart's won it. Owen Hart's won it. The list goes on and on and on of the classic wrestlers that have won and then gone on to have these amazing runs and amazing careers. This, I think, is what they're trying to bring back. I think the winner of the King of the Ring will be something of significance moving forward. And I think that's what they're trying to do. And of course, the guy they're going to have do it is Gunther. So for people that are hating on the King of the Ring tournament, I would say enjoy the tournament for what it is. It's a prize to win it, and they're trying to bring that back. That's the way I'm looking at it. Is that a little bit of smoke? Would I like their prize? Sure, of course. Um, Timmy, speaking of the King of the Ring, let's talk about that Gunther Sheamus match. I mean, that match is right up our alley. Two of our favorite guys. It's a banger. What did you think of the match? And particularly, what did you think about the ending of that match?
Well, I think that I think that's what exactly they wanted us to buy into, right? Like they know that when I think there's three guys in the WWE that know when they get into this type of match, they're expected to deliver, and that's Drew McIntyre, and that's
Gunther
God, Gunther,
and
and that's
Sheamus.
and Sheamus.
Yep.
These three guys all really deliver on a different level when it comes to just absolutely battling each other, dude. They're just killing each other, and it's great, and it's fun, and it's just it's what we expect every single time these guys get into the ring. Um, the thing that I didn't like at the end of at the end of the movie, at the end of the actual like the match was the whole knee thing. I hated that. Like I hated the fact that like you have one of the top wrestlers in the business, right? And you make him tap out at the end of this match because he can't handle the pain. Either he gets through like the entire situation where he's battling through, right? He's battling
Right.
through. And at the end of the match, he just gives up. Like that kills me
It hurt
with
me, dude. Like I did not like seeing that because I'm such a fan of Sheamus, and I've always had this idea of like, he's never won the Intercontinental Championship. He's obviously had battles with Gunther before, and I hate the idea of him coming up short, particularly by tapping out. And I want to say kudos to Sheamus for allowing that and putting Gunther over in the way that he did. I mean, that's a major put over there to tap out to Gunther and kind of let him have that dominant moment again and develop this unbeatable guy and add that arsenal of he can also tap you out to his resume. Tapping out a former world champ, multiple time world champion, Royal Rumble winner. I mean, the Sheamus has done it all, and it's just it's an amazing thing that he's selfless and professional enough to do that, and it's great story because man, it hurt to see that happen. And I'm a sucker for the knee injury and them telling a story in the match with a knee injury. Like I am a sucker for that. I'll admit it. Like I love that stuff when it's like, oh, we have this knee injury and they keep attacking and attacking and attacking, and it's part of the story of the match. So I loved that. It hurt me, and that's how I know it's good because it legit. I was upset that I was like, man, he tapped out. Like, dang, he went out like that. That's tough. Like that's a tough pill to swallow. I don't know if you're
no
on the same vibe with that, but it was a tough pill to
no that, I
swallow
mean
for me.
that's the biggest thing for me is like I mean Sheamus is coming back and you're trying to establish this guy as like a main event guy and then he like taps out. It's like,
Yeah,
come on.
right. And he is a main event guy, and I think that's what bothers me. It's like, man, he doesn't really get the what he deserves, what he's earned with the body of work that he puts in every time he goes out there. Um, Another thing I want to note about the King of the Ring match was that Ilya Dragunov versus Ricochet match. And the end of that match, Ricochet's interviewed in the back. interesting him saying some things have to change. I've come up short, and just something to note. Let's keep an eye on Ricochet and maybe certain things that he's doing. Is there a heel character? Would a heel character work for Ricochet?
Who knows? But
For
I
I'm
mean, I'll
sorry,
tell you,
Rick O'Shea, right?
Rick
That's his name,
O'Shea.
Rick O'Shea.
But like, dude, like him changing his dynamic would be nice because I think
He needs a
what
fresh
he
start.
what he's been doing hasn't obviously worked. So let's just make a move.
Yeah, it's not connected. I don't know where he could go, but I'm curious where that will go. Um okay, so another thing that I liked, and they've been building this for a little bit, and folks out there, we're going to keep this episode a little bit shorter this week because we're just trying to build, and we don't want to just, talk about stuff to talk about stuff. So let's get to the announced match for the King and the Queen of the Ring, the triple threat now for the Intercontinental Championship. I liked Gable coming out, and him and Bronson Reed were going at it. And I want to note that Bronson Reed, I don't know if it was he was just escaping these what almost looked like catastrophes. Like when he was on the top turnbuckle and he was getting like suplexed off, and he went, I thought he was gonna break his neck because it looked like that was going south quickly, and he was able to flip and land on his back and land fine, and no one was hurt. But if that was something that's planned and he's able to do this kind of thing where it looks like, oh, this could be very dangerous, or this could fall, or this could happen here or there, and come out unscathed. This guy in ring is very entertaining. I enjoyed this match, and I enjoyed Sammy coming in, and I am super excited for this triple threat.
No, I agree. Look, he has been really good, and people don't notice him because I mean he comes out and he's that dominant type of wrestler that like you expect to do three or four moves and he gets in and he gets out. But like I mean, Bronson Reed is an absolute beast, dude, and it is fun to see him do his thing. Like the one thing that we always look forward to is like who's going to get up from that splash, right? The splash that he does is insanity,
Oh,
dude.
crazy. That has to
No one's
kill.
no one's going to get up from that. And we learned from a couple different guys that are in the business that the splash is one of the hardest things to get up from. It's a tough move to recede. So, um, you know what, dude? Like another time, like where we think that like it's an easy like thing, like it's no big deal. Where that move, yeah, that's kind of a pain in the ass, and you're absorbing it. You're absorbing all the weight that comes from Bronson Reed, and my God,
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah, right. I'd love to the oh, it's fake right fans, or non-fans. They're like, okay, well lay down, let this guy jump off the top onto you, and you tell me how fake
Yeah,
it is.
let's switch spots real quick.
Yeah, yeah. Um, just to note out there, if you're a new wrestling fan, fake is a trigger word for real wrestling fans. So let's move on, and I want to talk about, and this is actually going to be our final subject of the night. We're going to talk about the Judgment Day a little bit here. So obviously, Damian Priest retains. He comes out and apologizes to Finn Balor and JD McDonough about how he acted after they lost or after he won, and blah blah blah. And he's not hitting home for you, Timmy. I know you've been critical. We've all been critical of Damian Priest, but this reign of his is not something in particular that you have loved. I know you've said it multiple times.
It's falling short. It just for a guy that holds the world heavyweight title, right? Something that Seth Rollins has really built up to something that we've talked about in the past. Like, my God, like this guy has really delivered on such different levels. Um, it's sad to see him. I mean, I don't want to say sad because like he's doing his best, but like it's just not delivering, right? Like when you see a guy out there and he's doing the best he can with a title, he's strapped, and it's like, all right, come on, man. Like you got to give me something better than what you're giving me. And I feel like he's fallen short every single time. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I'm not fully bought into him. I've found myself liking him more recently, and a lot of that has to do with the social media videos after WrestleMania and um but his character, yeah, it's a little bit off for me. He feels like a placeholder, you know what I mean? It's not like he's not the guy, and he's
Right.
holding a belt right now, which can kind of be good because you want to see him lose it. Um, I do like how they're building that rift and they get the rift going at Backlash, like, oh, these guys are gonna break up eventually, and then he brings it back in, oh no, we're all good, everything's all good, I'm a good leader, blah blah blah. Like, oh, maybe they're back together. So they're doing a good job. So eventually when he does leave Judgment Day, it'll be a moment. They tease it and then they don't have it. They've been teasing it for 6 months now, 7 months now, or even really since last SummerSlam with him and Finn and what was going to happen since Money in the Bank. So we'll see where that goes. An interesting thing in the back with Carlito coming in now to join. It just seems like very like that seems thrown together. That seems like it wasn't well thought out. A Carlito attacked someone from the back. Now he's a bad guy. Another person that's turned on Ray or whatever is going on with that. And the thing I noted it was that Dominic Mysterio brought him in. And all the other guys like, what's going on? Obviously, Priest didn't like it. And Dominic Mysterio doing some strange things. And I want to talk about something that could lead to a potential very epic moment. And I've mentioned it before that if Dominic Mysterio, who's an amazing heel, gets a lot of heat, really wanted to go to that next stratosphere of heat, he would have to betray Mommy. And we recently got another nugget. The first one, Dominic Mysterio walks out of a locker room. 5 seconds later, out walks Liv Morgan.
No
Obviously,
way.
a beautiful young lady.
When
What's
did that
going on
happen?
in that? What were those two? Liv Morgan and Mommy hate each other. What were those two doing in that room together? A picture surfaced of Liv Morgan on Monday Night Raw, and they show her, and what is in her pocket? It's just barely hanging out. A purple bandana. We all know the purple and the color of purple and the purple bandana is a sign of the Judgment Day. Was she with Dirty Dom again? Timmy, is
Are
this
you
setting up for when Mommy comes back for her to be having a match against Liv Morgan
are you
and
sure it has
Dirty Dom
nothing?
pulling the rug out from underneath her and betraying Mommy, setting up an epic moment, an all-time heel moment for a character?
Are you sure it has nothing to do with the color purple?
The movie, Oprah Winfrey, sex trafficking, drinking children's blood, the underworld, the Illuminati. Maybe she's forming a new group. It's the Illuminati.
Weirdo. Oh my God.
Oprah Winfrey comes out and is now backing Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio.
You get a
Oh
car.
my God.
You get a
Oh
car.
my, well, Oprah has ties to The Rock. Remember they were trying to raise money for Hawaii? Those oh boy, it's all coming together now. I think we figured it out. You know what, Timmy? That was going to be our last subject of the night, but one more, real quick. I want to talk about Uncle Howdy. Another another QR code. Uncle Howdy. I'm not in love with I wish they would have gotten away from it. We unscrambled some stuff last week, and in one of the QR codes, there were several letters and a couple numbers. And when I put it together, it said June 15 AD. And on June 15th, Clash at the Castle. Will Uncle Howdy be making his debut at Clash of the Castle on June 15th? We will see, but I'm kind of not like I'm not sure where this is going. I'm not fully invested in it, not like I was with Bray Wyatt. It seems like instead of you know, Jim Belushi, you're getting John Belushi. You know what I mean? It's Chris Farley's brother coming out, not Chris Farley. It's, the knockoff version. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I am a Bo Dallas fan. I feel like the Uncle Howdy character um never really had a path and never really had any type of route to go. And this is low expectations at least. So something to note. All right. That is going to wrap it up for us here on another episode of Jabroni Drive. We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. Remember, new episodes airing every week, talking everything professional wrestling, particularly WWE. Timmy, anything you got to say to all the Schmidt and Lavellites out there before we sign off?
Are you kidding me, Tom? If you listen to Jabroni Drive, everyone knows that you are a Jabroni for
life. That is just too sweet. Remember, new episodes airing every week, everything professional wrestling. A big week ahead of us. WWE, SmackDown, Raw. Who knows what's going to happen? The King of the Ring tournament. We'll be covering it all next week on Jabroni Drive. Until then, we love you. Have a great Mother's Day. A great weekend. Peace.